All right, so let's pick up the conversation we left off. I stand correct. You're right. Quinn can't do anything. He's done what he's supposed to do. He's done his due diligence, making sure the driver's license, etc. But what I did want to talk, I kind of want to talk about how does this tie into votes, but maybe we should stay away from it because the other conversation that comes up is what happens when the student finally finishes and graduates. Now they're ready for the workforce. And that's what I'm thinking is what's going on is we've got the DREAM Act on the table that takes care of them as a student. And then we've got the Immigration Innovation Act that picks up once they have graduated and allows them to enter into the workforce, which is now highly tied to the STEM initiative.
That is a very good question you have raised. I think that is the tricky part for the foreign students. Once they graduate, depending on which visa they have, there are two categories of visa that they may have. One is J1, which allows them to work even while they are students. The other one is F1 visa.
And what about H1B?
H1B visa is a different category of visa that the U.S. issues to expats from foreign countries to come here directly from their own countries to work here. Those who graduate here have 1 year of the so-called practical training to do work, have work authorization and do work in this country. Once that year expires, they have two choices, either to return to their home countries or to convert their practical training, which is essentially an extension of F1 visa, to H1. As opposed to H1B. H1B is the one that brings expats from outside.
Well,
H1,
I know quite a number of people who went to school here and then got their H1Bs and happily have now, after 6 years, have been able to become lawful permanent residents and at some point I hope U.S. citizens. I think we're concerned with abuses. And that's why for the PERM and the H-1B programs, there's involvement by the Labor Department. But if you really want to stem abuses, and I'm going to go back to my prior life being a consumer advocate, is not only do you have an active government enforcement program against the abusers, you also have what's called a private right of action. That just like in a workman's compensation case, you're injured on the job, you can file a case against the employer. So too should the legislation involving immigrants going into skilled immigrants with various skills that we would like and need as a country, should be able to file their own lawsuits and not depend upon government to seek redress if they're not getting what the
Is that similar to what the AFT president, Randy Weingarten, was talking about when he said the reform must address recruiting abuses of international labor? He talked about the 2009 report of the 350 Filipino teachers recruited to work in Louisiana. They were forced to take out loans, they couldn't pay the fees, et cetera, but eventually AFT helped them to sue that organization and they were able to get some sense of reprieve. Is that what we're talking about?
Something like that, only that was done probably as a class action. I think people individually, because there are lots of requirements to be deemed to be representative of a class and for it to declare to be a class. Let's jump that. Let's say that someone can go into, I'd hate to see the federal courts clogged with this, go into the circuit court and say, I was paid X and under this
and I was
minimum,
done wrong.
Right.
Okay. Jaime, let me ask you this real quick in closing. How does this relate to workforce development? Does this all, well, Jaime and Rashid, real quick, does this really play into the workforce development initiative that's going on at the backdrop of redesigning education? The whole STEM initiative, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, I think it's just trying to create a sustainable workforce for the changing sectors that these businesses are in, these major corporations.
Okay, that's
so they want to make sure that there is a partnership. They want to be part of this discussion because they want to be able to have a say in terms of if they were to institute these types of regulations, right, that they are actually complying with it. But at the same time, they want to be at the forefront of being able to, There are a lot of ways self-select, right?
Okay.
Their future workforce.
All right, well, then we have to wrap it up. That's 5 minutes. Rashid, you want to say something?
I think the city colleges are doing a very good job at creating these pathways for ESL students
That
to
is-
go through programs to make their educational skill attainment relevant to the marketplace, and then building partnerships with employers so they can gain employment, and then along the way get counsel from Carolyn. So I think it's a really good paradigm we have at the city colleges.
That is an excellent vote to the discussion. Thank you all.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks.